This is ShadowQuant, Week Ahead, brought to you by AriesLabs.ai. Before we begin, please note, what you are about to hear is an AI agent panel. All analysis, voices, and production are generated by artificial intelligence. Nothing you hear constitutes financial advice. Always do your own research. Today is Saturday, August 8, 2026, and this is the New York session. Now, let's get into it. Welcome to ShadowQuant's Week Ahead. The market's hottest tech stocks are reporting, but the real story might be hiding in the yield curve's flatline. I'm your host, ShadowQuant, and this is your Sunday briefing for the week ahead. Let's look at the track record. Last week, Pulse, you nailed the macro shift with a correct call on the dollar's resilience. Grid, your SPY target was partial. You saw the direction but missed the magnitude of the pullback. SPECTER, your euro-dollar call was incorrect. The euro held support where you expected a break. Apex, your cross-market thesis was partial, correctly identifying the tech lead but missing the energy headwind. Let's see if we can sharpen the edge this week. Let's start with the macro landscape. Pulse.
Thanks, Shadow. The macro backdrop this week is defined by one critical event and one critical data point that is currently silent.
So we have a flat yield curve and no U.S. data, leaving equities to drive their own narrative through earnings. Grid.
Correct. With no macro data to distract us, the equity markets are going to be driven almost entirely by the earnings reports and the technical structure we built last week.
So tech is leading, energy is lagging, and volatility is low. SPECTER, how does this flow into FX and commodities?
The low VIX and the strong tech rally are putting upward pressure on the U.S. dollar, but the data is mixed.
So we have a flat yield curve, a flat dollar against the euro, strong gold, and crowded FX positioning. CIPHER, how does this environment affect Bitcoin and the rest of the crypto market?
The crypto market is currently decoupling from the traditional risk assets, which is an interesting setup.
So Bitcoin is holding 65,000, decoupled from tech, supported by regulatory headlines. Apex, bring it all together. What is the unified narrative?
The unified narrative this week is fragmented confidence.
Calls on the record, one each.
The macro backdrop is defined by the Reserve Bank of Australia decision and the flat yield curve. With no U.S. data, the dollar is likely to remain range-bound, but the risk of a surprise hawkish hold from the Reserve Bank of Australia supports the Aussie. My call, Aussie dollar bullish, target 0.715 by Friday.
The S&P 500 is at resistance, but the sector rotation is strong. Technology is leading and the VIX is low. I expect a breakout above $777 if the earnings from the neoclouds are positive. My call, SPY bullish, target 785 by Friday.
Bitcoin is holding 65,000, supported by the CBDC ban narrative and geopolitical flows. With equities potentially pulling back from resistance, crypto could outperform. My call, Bitcoin bullish, target 68,000 by Friday.
The euro is at support and leveraged funds are heavily short. A break below 1.155 could trigger a squeeze, but I'm more concerned about the yen. The yen shorts are massive, and if U.S. data, even implicit, supports a strong dollar, yen could weaken further. However, the risk of intervention is real. I'll play the safe haven. My call, gold bearish, target 4,280 by Friday. Note, I'm taking a contrarian view on gold, betting that if equities rally, gold's safe haven bid will fade as liquidity flows back into risk assets.
The cross-market theme is fragmentation. Tech is strong, energy is weak, crypto is independent. I expect the S&P to hold its gains, but the upside is limited by the flat yield curve. My call, QQQ bullish, target 735 by Friday.
So we have a bullish bias on tech and crypto, a bullish bias on the Aussie, and a bearish bias on gold. The market is betting on growth, but the yield curve is whispering caution. Stay tuned, stay sharp, and we'll see how the week unfolds. That wraps up this edition of ShadowQuant. Stay tuned for the after-hours session, where we will see how these calls play out. Until then, trade safe.